this school. We want the best for your children, and it's my job to deliver that. So I'm looking forward to working with all the families that are here tonight to ensure that that happens.
Thank you, Miss Lowbridge.
Good evening, everybody. It's nice to see so many of you online this evening. My name's Katie Lowbridge. I am the assistant head teacher for collaboration, and my main responsibilities are on the school SENCO and also I'm the lead DSL.
Thank you. So we've got a range of roles joining you tonight. So hopefully by the end of the evening, we've answered a lot of the questions that you may want answering. I'd like to just start off by saying that you may have noticed that you're muted and your cameras are off. That's nothing to worry about. It's just because other organisations that have run similar events have been hijacked, unfortunately, by trolls, and inappropriate things have happened. So we're just guarding against that to make sure that we have a smooth new parents' evening, students' evening, sorry. We're going to, throughout the evening, answer frequently asked questions that we've received. We've received those both through the email address, Year 6 questions that we've set up, but also I've got questions that we've had from primary schools that I visited. I went to Brookfields today. It was a delight to see some of those students, and I hope we've got them with you've got them with you so we can answer any questions they have. And we've also asked our Year 7s what they would have liked to have known if they could go back in time. So hopefully we'll cover everything, but if we don't, I've got key contacts here on the slide that you'll see. Welcome to JQA. We've got an inquiry there for general inquiries. My email address, and as I say, I'm transition lead. So if there's anything you're still not sure about after this evening, please feel free to email me directly and I'll be sure to get back to you and clarify anything that you need. I've also got Miss Lowbridge's email address there. As she said, she's a safeguard lead and also deals with SEND. So if there's any issues you foresee, please give Miss Lowbridge an email also. We've begun communication here at JQA. We understand that parents are a massive part of holding us to account and helping us develop and improve at all times, and to the student's success. So one of the things that will be really useful to do is download our app. A lot of communication goes through the app, including a weekly newsletter where you can see some of the great stories and activities and initiatives that your children will be partaking in. So to download that, if you go to Piota Schools, you can do that with an iPhone or an Android, and then just type in our school. You'll have that up on your phone and you'll get all those notifications. We also try to be busy on Instagram and Twitter. They're the hashtags there and the handles that you can follow us on. And as I say, stay up to date with all the great things that we're doing with your children. Some key dates. New Student Day. I'm sure, like us, you're getting a little bit fed up with having to do everything virtually, but thank God for the technology. So it's allowed us to do this today. But unfortunately, from the government announcement and guidelines, we now can't have students on site, which we're really disappointed about. But we're going to ensure on our website, under transition, we've got a range of videos and activities for your students to do on that day, where they can meet key staff, have tours of the building, and complete activities that they'll expand on their first day.
Can I jump in there, Mr. Tully? Because I just want to share what our plans are. We were really hoping to see all of our students on site on the 7th of July. I was absolutely looking forward to welcoming the new intake, and we'd planned for them to do some really lovely art activities, some fantastic science experiments, some PE team building activities, and to meet their form tutors. And unfortunately, we have the restrictions mean we can't do any of those things. And so we're as disappointed with that as you are, because we know the value in and the warmth in terms of what we would have been able to offer on that day would have made students feel a lot more at home. One thing I would probably say to counteract that is, if you haven't signed your child up for summer school yet, definitely do that, because that week will enable those things to happen. And I know Mr. Tully is going to talk about that now.
Thanks, Mr. Parks. Sir's exactly right. What summer school will hopefully allow for our future students is that taster that we wanted on that day. It's going to run from the 16th of August to the 20th of August, so that's Monday to Friday. And that summer school will be free of charge, provided by the Core Education Trust. We'll communicate with you a form to complete if you want to secure a place for your child on that summer school, and that will be with you shortly. So again, I find myself saying this a lot, it is dependent on COVID. So if the current restrictions remain, we're going to have places for 75 students. If Mr. Johnson, the Prime Minister, sees his plan through and the restrictions ease, then we'll have capacity for 100 students. So in the first instance, we'll have 75 secured and a reserve list of 25, but hopefully we can have all 100 students on site, meeting their future social groups and their new friends, and of course, key staff in the academy.
We have got 27 places filled already. I can tell parents that from just looking at the forms. So that the demand is there. So if you haven't signed up for summer school yet, please do. I will text the link out now.
Absolutely, it's important you do that. We did it last year. They'll be experiencing bikeability, different sports sessions, art, drama. They're really going to get a flavour of what's to come at JQA. So I hope they can join us on that. So I'm going to go into some of the questions now, which hopefully will answer any burning questions that you've got. This will be shared amongst me, Mr. Barton, and Ms. Lowbridge. And as I said, if we don't touch on some of the issues that you may have or still don't think have been clarified, please email me. So the first question is, how will the school be different through COVID? Mr. Barton, do you want to start us off on that one?
Absolutely. One of my biggest challenges over the course of the last 16 months has been to work with the senior head teacher, Mr. Williams, and the senior team in order to ensure our school is COVID safe. And I think there are people on the line that probably have children already in JQA, and we didn't have to close to any students in autumn until the last week. Our measures were so stringent, so in place, and students adhered to them so well, and that we were able to be safe across the whole site. Since then, we've been really proactive in making sure that students test twice weekly, and we think that might continue into the autumn term. And we're waiting for further guidance about that. One of the things that we've done really successfully is to zone students, and they've because our students are so wonderful and fantastic, they've stuck to it to the letter, and that's enabled them to be super safe and to keep their families safe as well. So the zoning, the ventilation, in some cases where we have had a case, we've immediately put masks back in, and that's happened recently for year 8. And we if a student hasn't got a mask, we issue them one on the gate. We're not monsters about it. We're really keen to make sure that our students feel as safe and supported as possible. And it's all about making sure that our community remains safe. So I think it is something that we will get to ease up on. But there are key lessons that we've learned from these last 16 months. For example, the equity around social zones. Students have spoken really openly about how they like having different zones on different days of the week because it gives them access to different sports facilities, for example. Students have talked about how they like remaining in one classroom for some of their more written subjects. And recently we've been able to ease off and allow year 10s to be able to travel down to practical spaces for art and drama and music, for example. So we will continue to ensure that those creative subjects have the opportunities to be able to do them in the venues that they should do them in. But we're always going to come back to our concept of never being complacent when it comes to this virus, because we've seen how damaging it can be for this community. And we serve a predominantly BAME community, and we know how much the virus has impacted upon that community, and we're absolutely determined to work in collaboration with families in this community to make sure that everyone is safe, including the people that are the most vulnerable.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. I think another thing that we ensured was that students without access to devices were given anything that they needed, because we continued online lessons pretty much from the start of the pandemic. On that note, there's going to be some communication coming out shortly, which is a device questionnaire, because fingers crossed it doesn't happen. But I know there's rumblings and talk about lockdowns in the winter to come if data and numbers increases. So it'd be really useful for us if you could fill that in terms of what access you have to devices at home. Just in the event that does happen, we can make sure that learning can continue at home.
Can I add to that a bit of gloss onto that, Mr. Tully? Because I feel like you've undersold your own role and probably the school's role in that sense. At one stage, we had 92% of our year 10s logged into live lessons. We had 93% of our year 7s logged into live lessons during March and February. That came through sheer determination to be able to support this community with devices. I took my car out and drove around to areas of Ladywood and Handsworth dropping off laptops. So did Mr. Tully, so did other members of the pastoral team. And we are absolutely determined to make sure that we do whatever it takes here so that our students can succeed. And I think Sir's undersold himself there. He's undersold the school, but we are absolutely determined to ensure that we give our students every chance and every opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. I must stop being modest. We'll move on to the next question, which I think is for me. What is the conduct policy and rewards policy like? So we have 3 very simple rules here at Jewellery Courts Academy. It's RRS. I went to Brookfields earlier, as I said, and they're very familiar with this because it's the same for them. And it simply stands for being ready, respectful, and safe. That's all students have got to remember and all we expect from them. Hopefully you received your letters and packs and you got your pencil cases through the post for your children. And that's just a small gift from JQA, from the team. But what they'll also get is on their first day, they'll be given a planner, which is an aid and a tool for their learning. We have a system where students will have their planner with them every day, and each lesson, every time they demonstrate RRS, ready, respectful and safe, they'll receive an RRS stamp from their teacher. A full week of one of those, and they'll get what's called a full stamp merit sticker. Now, the merit stickers that students receive, and we've got lots of them, we've got like ones for 100% attendance, we have ones from heads of year, SLT, head teacher, even CEO, worth a lot of points